Sup, it's me again. This is the last of my Lollipop Galactic, but today we're gonna go back to when the divorce started. So, we're gonna go back to a little bit before the divorce started. So, I guess today I'll do backstory. Like I said, I met my wife in high school. I was dating one of her sister's friends. Like she knew people I knew, and like we didn't run in the same circle, but our circles kind of crossed in high school. But I didn't start dating my wife until I came home from prison. When I was 18. When I was 17, my parents kicked me out of the house because I wouldn't break up with the Jewish girl. And like there was a lot of other shit going on in my house at that point in time in high school, but that was the main reason that my dad put his hands on me and put me out of the house. It was because I refused to break up with this girl. And so pretty much, like I wasn't quiet about it in high school. I was going through shit in high school, and I was very vocal about it because like I felt about it back then as I do now. Like no one should have to live like that. And so I was put out for dating a Jewish girl. I fell in with the wrong crowd. I committed an armed robbery with a BB gun, and I went to prison for 5.5 years. I came home. I did 5 years parole, 4 to 5 years of parole. And I was with Mary from when I came out. I went to Brooklyn, and I moved back to Jersey like 6 months later. So almost as soon as I got back to Jersey, me and Mary got in contact with each other. And I got violated for smoking weed. And I was sent to a halfway house. And while I was in the halfway house, we, I guess, began dating. And a little after I came home, like a month or two after I came home from the halfway house, she was pregnant with twins. And I remember, I will never forget this. She told me she was pregnant. I said, what do you want to do? Like, you know, like I think I had just started working. So I was like, pretty much just started making money after a year of being home. And, you know, like, she told me she didn't want to abort the kid, so I said, fuck it, I gotta step up and be a dad. So I started working two to three jobs. I want to say I worked 3 jobs up until right before the kids were born. And on top of that, I was going to parole and outpatient, you know, because that was part of my parole. So I was busy. I was always, and then on top of that, I was doing my own music shit on the side, you know, so I was going to work, cleaning her family's house, watching my kids, cleaning up after my kids, doing the yard work, and then at night when everyone was asleep, I would record my music, you know. So I've always had a job. My son, my oldest, he said it to me the other day, he's never not known me to not have a job. Even when I was a stay-at-home parent, I was still making money. So it's like, to hear someone who said they were my best friend tell me that I'm a lazy piece of shit and a deadbeat, someone who's never had a job, it's kind of weird, because like that man watched me clean that house. He would come to band practice, and I'd be like, listen bro, I gotta finish this. You could go upstairs and practice. I've got to finish this, you know. So like people knew that the lies that she was telling weren't true. They don't care. It fits their narrative of what they want to believe. But anyway, so we got married when my twins were 2. And a little after we got married, it was, I want to say, a month, she started cracking down. Like, I couldn't have money, I couldn't have friends, I couldn't go out, I couldn't do shit. And I left. I said, yo, this isn't a marriage. Like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, oh, this is what you signed on for. I said, no, if this is how you had been before we got married, I wouldn't have married you. And we were separated for 3 months. She made life a living hell then too. I had to pay $800 a kid, and I only got to see my twins for 15 minutes, and her sister was always present. I was never allowed to take my children and have a day. I was always treated as if I was on a supervised visit, and it has existed to this separation as well. So, February of 2024, I was home. I don't remember what date it was, but I was home getting my kids ready for school, and there was a loud banging on the door around 7:30 in the morning. Mind you, this is around the time that the kids got to start going to school, getting on the bus. So, loud door open. It's a plainclothes marshal, and he's screaming my name. By the way, screaming my name that he knows I'm in there, and I need to open the door. So, mind you, other parents are out bringing their kids out to the bus stop, and here's this man screaming my full government, announcing to the world that he's here to lock me up or whatever. Like he was pretty much hinting that I was in trouble and that I was running, and that he knew I was in the house. And me and my sons are looking at each other like, we're in the house all day, every day. What the fuck is this guy talking about? So I answer the door, and he serves me. And I'm like, what's going on? He's talking to me all rude and shit, like I'm a piece of shit. And he's like not clarifying anything. So I'm like, Marshall, I could talk to you this way. I said, well, bro, what the fuck is going on? You're getting divorced. Merry Christmas. And I was like, what the fuck? And my sons told me they had seen that man at my house the night before with his son. So, like, there's so much shit surrounding this divorce that doesn't make sense, that doesn't sound legal, but, like, it doesn't matter. This woman pulled strings and did what she did, so now she's, you know, she's spun it so that she is the victim, martyr, judge, jury, and executioner. And she's done it in a way where the only person who can actually hold her accountable now is the judge. And, like I said yesterday or this morning, she stole my identity. By putting me out on the street, that cemented that she had perfect control over my identity, because she's controlled my address since we moved from our old town to the new town that she lives in. I was never able to change my address when we moved, and then once she put me on the street, still can't change my address. I've been on the street for 3.5 years, going on 4 years, and every time I get my address changed from her house to my P.O. box, it works for a month or two, and then all of a sudden I stop getting mail. And then I got to go back and do the whole thing all over again. I've worked with like 4 different postmasters, and every single one, they can't tell me how my address just keeps getting changed back to an address that I haven't lived at. You know, when you look on file, it says I've never lived at that address, but I was physically in that address for 3 to 5 years. And again, like I said, that's how she was able to fully take over my identity. And since then, she's just been destroying my credit left and right. And you know, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm working a shit job where I don't make enough money to like get out of my car, but it's enough I can get a room on the weekends, and it's enough I can see my kids and get my kids the things that they need. You know, like my son needed shoes, and I went without so that he could have shoes. You know, I go without just so that I can spend time with my children. And that's something that a lot of people pretending to be parents will never understand, because they think that, oh, not hanging out with friends, that means I'm a parent. Like, that's not what it means to be a parent. That's not sacrifice. You know, when you go hungry every day for a week just to make sure that your kids have some type of like life on the weekends, that's sacrifice. When you are wearing busted up shoes just to make sure that your children, all 3 of your kids, have shoes that fit and that are presentable, that's sacrifice. Telling the world, oh, my spouse beat the shit out of me, and then putting them on the street and then pretending like you're divorced 3 years later when you've kept everything at go, that's not sacrifice, that's abuse. You know, like telling the world, oh, I gave up my marriage, that's sacrifice, you did that for you. You know, like, I'm getting way off topic now, but it's, you know, obviously my feelings are hurt. My feelings will always be hurt, because I never did anything to this woman to deserve this, you know? Because, like, she keeps saying I abused her, and there's no police reports. There's no anything. There's no charges. There's no incident reports. There's, like, the only person who called for Keep the Pieces in the past 3 years was me. Every time I saw my children, I had to call for Keep the Peace, because the times that I didn't, she put her hands on me. And if she didn't put her hands on me, she called the police like I was trying to break into the house and do something to her. And it was never the case. I don't want to do anything to this woman. Even after everything she has done to me, I just want my children. I honestly, I have no faith in the judicial system at this point. But like that's whose hands it's in. It's out of my hands. I just want my kids. I want to be able to live a life that I deserve. That is my human right. And I want my kids. That's it. 50-50 is an automatic right. Deciding that someone doesn't have a right to life or their children or anything, that's not your decision to make. And then to sit there and use actual trauma, actual victim stories and actual real trauma to attribute it to yourself just because you don't want to be fair. You know? Like, she's just done so much stuff that in the beginning it was hard for me to see it, but after a year of living the same cycle over and over and over and over and over, I realized like she's an abuser. She's always been an abuser. This isn't something new. This is who she's always been, and this is who she will always be. But people will always write it off because she's a woman, and they're quick to believe her that because I have a violent felony on my record, that I was the abuser. And it isn't even just that. She used so much shit. Like, I'm a black man. She told people I was Italian. So she told people I was race baiting when I talk about racial issues. She told people that I was a felon, and like had me having to explain to people like that's my past. That's not who I am. That's who I was. I did something stupid and I got served time. I did my time for it. You know? And it just makes so much sense that 3 years later, finding out all the things that I know now, it makes so much sense why she did what she did, because she needed to cover up all of the crimes and fuck shit that she did. I mean, all that's going to come out. I might make a video about it soon, but like I've already said too much in these videos, but I need to, because like, again, I can't keep reliving the same cycle in silence. It's driving me insane.